Hey there, so today we are going to be putting on this Brazilian rosewood fingerboard to the neck blank for that new Titus model I'm working on. I'm Trevor Days and this is Days Custom Guitars. Let's get to it. First order of business, of course, is finding our center line. I drew a little bit darker and I had to put on a piece of tape here to make sure we could line that center line up there. But this is going to give us a starting point for putting our fretboard on. So I get my fretboards pre-radiused and pre-slotted with the fender style nut slot there. This makes my job a lot easier, and the person who have do this, PST Guitars, has always given me really consistent quality fretboards. And it just makes my life a lot easier. So this is what we're going to be using. So first order of business is grabbing our center line. I'm going to be using millimeters for this because I feel like I can get a little closer idea. So 67.5. We have found our center measurement. So I am going to leave a couple marks here just to make sure. I also laid down a piece of tape because this fretboard is kind of dark. And you'll sit here and listen to me call it fretboard, a fingerboard. I have no idea what the proper term is, but that's what I call it. Both. Now we've got a couple things messing with us here. For one, we've got some white kind of coloration in the fretboard. And then I put this tape down, and all of this stuff is kind of making our center lines look funky. I've had wood play tricks on me before. The grain lines start to look kind of crooked to your center line. I went ahead and marked on my neck blank where the nut is supposed to be. This will help me line things up too as far as getting our distance lined up. There's a couple ways to do this. Another easier way probably would have been while it was blank to get all this lined up. But you know, I like making things challenging apparently. I'm also getting the center line marked up right here. I'm going to throw down some double-sided tape here. Just kind of temporarily hold the fretboard on. So when I get everything nice and centered, I can drill a couple small dowels, I guess. We can use drill bits as dowels. That will help us keep things nice and lined up when we go to glue it up. I'll put this on it just to help protect it. Seems how we're going to be trimming it a little bit. Well, they don't call it rosewood for nothing. Just cutting that up, even with a mask on and everything, you get this smell that, well, smells like roses. This is going to be pretty cool. One side of this fretboard is going to be dark, and the other side is going to be kind of light. Be a little unique. I'm leaving this a little proud, probably a little bit more than a 1/16 of an inch, so I can trim that up later with the router. So when we go to glue everything up, there'll be a little bit of squeeze out, and we'll want to get all that trimmed up. But for now, we're just getting this a little bit closer. If you guys remember, I have a truss rod that has a spoke wheel on it. So I need to now cut out an area for that to be accessible. To give you an example, this is what it looks like. Of course, I have this fretboard covered up, but you will see I have a little bit of that fretboard trimmed away so we can turn this. Using my template as a guide, I can go ahead and measure how much I need to leave. 8.2 looks like, 8.3 millimeters. So I'll go a little proud. I'll go ahead and do 9, just so we have some room to trim away. There we go. So these calipers also have a little tang that sticks out. That's the same distance that we just measured. Knowing that 9 millimeters is past the heel, just make a couple marks. Measure how wide of an area we need to cut out. Right at 19 millimeters, which is 3/4. It's important to figure out how far back our fret wire is actually going to go. We're going to want to trim as close as we can to that. So I'm going to make a mark here just saying that is where our fret wire is going to be. Next order of business is just cleaning up that area so it looks nice. Now when we go to glue this thing up, this fretboard is going to want to move around a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and put this tiny little drill bit in one of the fret slots to hold it. This drill bit, of course, has to be thinner than your fret itself, or you would see the hole. We'll just go on just the outside here. Now we need to make sure that our truss rod fits as it should, so we need to undo this fretboard. Be a bad day if you broke one of those fretboards. Place my dowel pins. We'll call them dowel pins, they're just drill bits. But put them in their place. Truss rod fits nicely in there. It's about time to glue up. Put a little dab of silicone just in some of the areas. Just to keep things from vibrating a little bit. And now we wait. Okay, it's been quite a few hours. Just scraping off some of the excess glue. Now I could just go straight to a router, but there's enough extra there that I'd like to just trim it off a little bit with this. It's a little less aggressive. I just don't want any bit of the router to tear. So I'll go ahead and take it a little closer. Well, I found that this stuff was actually pretty easy to trim with just that sander, so I'm going to even it up right here. This is a sanding block I made out of a piece of ash that was jointed, so it's nice and flat. And then I just used some double-sided thick tape. I got some 150 grit on there right now. Pretty happy with the glue line, or lack thereof. I know this camera isn't the greatest, but it's looking really nice. I'm really digging the fact that there's two different colors here. It's really cool. It's like a two-face. Alright, so we are pretty darn close to having a nice neck blank. That needs to be shaped and all that. We've got the fretboard now glued on and the sides are trimmed. Everything's looking really good. I'm digging this wood combo. So this is a roasted bird's eye maple and then Brazilian rosewood that has some really cool grain patterns on it. So to recap, we more or less lined up our center lines, got our fretboard trimmed up, truss rod access, and now we're all glued up. It is looking good. Till next time.